Greetings and welcome to Deep Space Nine and aboard the vice flagship of Shadowstar, the USS Umbracidas. For this, well, legendary Starship stats review, may I introduce you to the Verity Command Dreadnought Cruiser, the legendary Command Dreadnought Cruiser, as designed, well, concept art designed by Adam Ely, the great artist responsible for bringing the Odyssey class to us. You see, Adam Ely entered the competition back in the day for Star Trek Online, and as a winner, his concept design became the Enterprise F. As Star Trek Online is officially licensed by CBS and such, that would technically make the Enterprise F, as seen in Star Trek Online, the lineage to the Enterprise E. You know what? If a good data show was to come out and we was to get the Enterprise F as we see in this, I would be over the moon happy. I know there are things about the ships people don't like, but this ship I think is absolutely beautiful. Concept design and the Odyssey we got. So, for this stats review, we'll be going through it in two major parts, and there will be two minor parts. First of all, first minor, we'll take a quick glance at customization options. For those who want to see more of this, look out for the visual review. Then we'll take a look at her stats and what they mean for the ship, perhaps the most important part of it all. Then on the lesser side, we'll take a look at the consoles and, somewhat importantly, the traits. And finally, for the last minor part, we'll take her in action to see how well she performs. And unlike most people who like to use this ship in a broadside build as such, don't worry guys, I'll show you a forward-arcing DPS focused support DPS build. Now, with that being said, before we really begin, I have to give a thank you to some very generous people. They are credited slightly on screen right now for those who are in the tier 3 section, but these people are what make this video possible with their extraordinary generosity. The continuous donations that come from Negus, Dante Demonic and Skyhawkings. Our patrons hopefully will in the future be YouTube members. Tribal Typhoon, TravisGames, Darkstars Order, Cross-Eyed Deplorable, and once again, Skyhawkings. And our Twitch subscribers, Tribal Typhoon once again, Miss Future Teach, Fox Plays Games, and returning again there because, well, she's done a lot of gifted subs here, Miss Future Teach. The generosity is extraordinary, and it would be safe to say that much like the Odyssey is a powerful vessel, you guys are like the scimitar, outclassing. I say this because that's going to be a poignant part of the stats. So, let's begin. Here we have it, the Verity in all of her beauty, and the Aquarius, is it Aquarius? The Aquarius Escort in her butt. You can see from the silhouette line, whoops, from this specific silhouette, what the artist was going for. Adam was definitely, I am more than positive that Adam must have been looking at looks of the Galaxy class, the Constitution, Sovereign, the B, the C, when he came up with these concepts, when he came up with the initial concept, because this ship has got them all. Its fundamental difference from them all is the twin neck. That's how this one separates itself from them all. Otherwise, it's basically using all of their elements. With this ship, you can customize it with the Endeavour, the Odyssey, the one that we all know from the beginning, I actually started playing Star Trek Online just as the Odyssey was introduced. When you could get that non-specific type. So Zen Store, it's either tactical, science, or operations. The non-specific one that you got, like the Kamali Samsar, that's when I started playing. Yorktown! God, you can tell she has memories for me when I think of it like that. Sojourner. Although, Sojourner, I'm not sure how to say it. Guys, in the comment section, if you want to correct me, please do so. It would really help. And, of course, we have the Verity. Hey, these kit bashes can give us some really nice outcomes. With you being able to swap out the hull, the saucer, the pylons, and the nacelles, you can actually go and do, like my presets, a Galaxy class look or a Sovereign class look if you really wanted for it. Like, sorry, I'll show them. That's my Odyssey Sovereign base. And the one that I came up with for a Galaxy base. Honestly, this is my favorite looking variant. Sovereign, which is funny because I like the Sovereign more than I like the Galaxy. But, God, that interchanges every day, doesn't it? It's just so many options you've got for this ship. It's such a nice ship to work with, customization-wise. You also get the Defiant, the Galaxy, the Intrepid, the NX refit, the Sovereign refit, hull types, with the Type 0 if you're a TOS fan. Which looks really good on this ship, funny enough. Upgrades and a lot when it comes to hull platings. Bridges get even better still, because we have the Odyssey bridge, which is actually my least favourite. To me, the Odyssey bridge is a little bit meh. Give it a pass. It's a little bit too similar to other bridges. Trying to remember which one I'm looking for now. There we go. A little bit too similar to another bridge in the game, which actually looks a bit better than it in my personal opinion. But you also get the Aquarius bridge, and oh no. That bridge might be in the tail of the ship, but that's the main bridge for me. That's the ship that should be, that's the bridge that should be commanding this ship. Yeah! Makes me believe, like, Sean actually commands the ship from there. Let's go to stats, shall we? Two broadside ships. This doesn't seem like a very smart place for us to be. Oh well! So, let's get safely into this then. And I say safely because, well, whew. Comparatively speaking, this ship needs to be compared to its predecessors. I know in the first of these legendary reviews, people were saying like the only ship you can compare the Glenn to is the other Crossfields. I understand where you're coming from. It's a little unfair though, because they've all got big advantages by being promo or lockbox ships. Having said that, this ship does not have that advantage. This ship is a fleet level Zen Store ship with only fleet level direct rivals. Very easy to compare it with other ships then. On that note, I will let you guys know right now that though her hull modifier is a tiny bit weaker and her shield modifier is a bit stronger, for the most part, the stats are the same. Beyond those 2 points, the only thing that really changes big is a universal seating of the bridge officers. Which, well, that's with the against the Endeavour class, which is the tactical tier 6 Odyssey, or the tactical tier 6 Star Cruiser. Yes, the other ones, the science is more science focused and therefore it's more science focused consoles. The engineering one is more engineering focused, there's more engineering focused console seatings. That kind of thing's obvious, same thing goes for the bridge officer positions. If you was to ask me, or I think a few other players within the community that does this sort of thing, which of the Star Cruisers is the superior, I think the answer just tends to be the Endeavour. when I originally reviewed the tier 6 star cruisers back in the day with Admiral Lynch, if anyone remembers this generally amazing king, we said back then that that was a DPS Titan. Yeah, we didn't have the Rudwell Juggernaut at the time. But no, that was a extremely powerful vessel, with the only proper rival to it being the tier 6 Scimitar. Long story short, guys, tier 6 Scimitar, even now, against this legendary, is vastly superior in DPS output. This being said though, tier 6 Oddie, in comparison to the legendary Command Dreadnought cruiser, I'm sorry Oddie, but the Dreadnought cruiser's just got the stats. Now, this should also be noted that, as it's probably been made quite clear, this ship is part of a very big family. 3 tier 5s, 3 tier 6, and, well, as a result, you have 4 aesthetic looks visually for the ship, 6 consoles acquired with the ship, and you finally have 4 traits to acquire. Bearing in mind that this is one ship that is part of a 30,000 Zen bundle. Yeah, there's 2 versions of the bundles you can get, a complete bundle and a lesser bundle. One will give you a lot of extras that don't really sum up to the value of what the bundle costs. But that premium one that just gives you the 10 ships and a few stocks, that one, guys, I strongly advise considering in comparison, since normally it's when you get it, it's on sale. And even if it's not on sale, if it's 30,000 Zen, each ship is costing you 3,000 Zen. That's the price of a standard tier 6 ship, which only comes with 1 console, 1 trait, and 1 visual aesthetic. Oh, and it's not even fleet level. Now, if you want fleet level, you're going to have to get a fleet module after that to go and purchase that one. Honestly, guys, I kind of want to argue for this is actually turning out to be more of a deal than I originally gave it credit for. On these notes, this is a tier 6 Dreadnought cruiser with a hull level at level 65 of 63,000. The hull modifier is 1.4, shield modifier 1.25, turn rate 6, impulse modifier is 0.14, inertia rating 30, with the bonus power settings being +5 to all power levels, and it having 4 forward and 4 aft weapons. More on that in a moment. She also has 4 device slots, 1 hangar bay, which the old Star Cruisers did not have, and the advanced quantum slipstream drive, carrier commands of course. She comes with a Type 8 shuttle, which honestly I've already thrown in the trash. And of course, as a command vessel, she has the command inspirational abilities. These have aged pretty well. What can we say here? Well, first notes, the original ones of these ships, they were command ships as well, so that's probably not a good place to start. But command specialization, command bridge officer abilities, and the command skills of the captain have aged very well. As such, I do not believe this is going to be an overall negative thing for the ship. Now, we can also state on this note, and I'm going to state very happily on this note actually, that this ship can equip dual cannons, giving it a very, very powerful upgrade and advantage. I myself will be utilising a dual cannon build when we get round to it. Things I want to really purposely bring up though is just how good of a ship this is at both DPS and tanking. The hull and shield modifier gives this ship some serious endurance, allowing her to take a lot of damage. Hell, I'm not very good at building a survivable ship, and she's survivable even with me. Then there is the fact that thanks to not only being a great broadsider build, which helps her as a tank, she has the ability to formulate offensively great forward attacking arcs. Torp builds, cannon builds, and dual beam builds are utilizable with this ship to a very high and effective degree. Some of that is down to also other little things that we've said back in the day, but I will explain why when we get to them. Honestly, I have a lot of appreciation for her. But there's one thing that I've been leaving out right up to now that is what niggles me. It's the thing I don't like that they changed. The British officer seatings are now Universal Ensign and Lieutenant, Science and Tactical Lieutenant Commander seatings, and finally one Engineering Commander seat with Command Specialization. To make that perfectly clear, that's one Ensign Universal, one Lieutenant Universal, one Lieutenant Commander Science, one Lieutenant Commander Tactical, and one Commander Engineering with Command Specialization. Would have liked to have seen another specialization added to the ship in one of those seats. Just, honestly, preference would have been to intelligence, but seeing pilot or seeing anything else would have been just nice, to be honest. One more specialization. It's an important ship. But you used to have the option of a universal Lieutenant Commander, and in the Endeavour's case, it was a Lieutenant Science instead of a Lieutenant Commander Science. Yep, that drops support ability even lower, so this ship actually has more support ability than the Endeavour did. But, honestly, as much as I approve that they've given this ship a bit more support ability, the change they've made doesn't grant enough boost of support to really validate it. Now you can X upgrade this ship and give the boost support that way. That gives it a little bit more validation because you can then boost the science console out more. But if you're X upgrading the ship, you're going to want to really focus on its strengths, tank or DPS. Fundamentally, I'd be going either for 5 engineering or 5 tactical versus having 4 of all. That's just me though. Honestly, I still think this ship has got a beautiful pace. I think she's well evolved. I do think she still holds another title of powerful DPS vessel. I do think she holds a great title in tanks. Now that I know more about tanks, I know that back in the day I probably should have just shouted and gone, she is a tank and DPS masterpiece. But from that note, let's take a look actually at what her consoles are, as well as her traits. Okay, I'm not sure the Umbra Seedust quite deserves to be lined up right next to the literal Enterprise, but okay. Yes, I did just check. That ship is actually called the Enterprise. What the? Hang on. So the Enterprise is the science variant. Well, that's good to know. With that being noted, right, there's a few things to go over. And you can see that I've already sort of started to put the build in place. I put the runabout in here, basically my way of going, anything is better than what you get with this ship. Well, it is limited. You can only use fighters and squadrons on this ship, or runabouts, Yellowstone, Delta flyers are another option if you want to fly that. But I would recommend getting hold of some good ones. On that note though, we can move away from that and talk about the things that are actually of interest here. First of all, I'm going to say this right now, as far as consoles go, these have aged. They haven't aged gracefully. Back in the day, the tier 6 set was really good when it came to DPS and also DPS slash support or tanking. They were relatively useful, but definitely overall a good DPS set to have. Nowadays I wouldn't even consider putting them into a build. I haven't. For the build that you're going to see for this ship, I'm not using any other consoles. I'm not even using the gimmick consoles. Now, I call these the gimmick consoles because they've all got interesting functions, and they give you little pets to use. But let's be honest, you're not getting anything like with the Jem'Hadar Vanguard carrier here. It's not on that level. And again, these are limited to the ship we can use, which again is not a great thing. Yes, I know I'm sounding specifically harsh and critical. I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry. Can't help it. It's just the way I've ended up seeing this. Moving on. None. Yeah, don't mind the way I'm talking right now. Okie dokie. First one, we have the chevron separation console. This will allow you to launch the saucer and have a little bit of fun with it. The saucer is an interesting platform. It will not fight anything unless you are fighting it. It will basically assist you with your target. The combat pet will also modify your stats. Affecting your weapon systems, you'll gain plus 10 to your weapon subsystems, but minus 10 to both shield and auxiliary. You also get a plus 10% to your flight speed and a plus 8 to your turn rate. You receive a minus 4.8% to your maximum shield capacity and minus 13% to your maximum hull capacity, and this has a just over 1 minute recharge time normally. As part of the set, it's currently reduced. Bringing that back in, and we can... I'm going to just talk about the worker bees first actually. Worker bees are an interesting pet. They actually tandem off of the chevron separation if you're using the full set. The worker bees will launch 4 little worker bees that will go around healing your ship for just above 300 hit points per second for 10 seconds. Nowadays, very, very minimal effectiveness. Honestly, you can do that a lot easier with one console, and yeah, you have to have range, but with what you gain from the full set, the fact you can now do that with one console, which I'm not seeing right now on here, just says everything to me. Hell, for yourself, yeah, you can just let's just go with a tier 6 level console and use the regenerative integrity field. That should give you a good idea what the difference is. I'm looking for proto-matter field. Proto-matter field heals you and your allies. Now, the only thing that proto-matter field can't do as well as the worker bees, Aquarius, and chevron separation can do together, I'll get into. Speaking of Aquarius, Aquarius is actually the only good one out of the lot, but at the same time, it's got its own big weakness. It's a tier 5 class vessel for a start, but, well, unfortunately, despite having phaser quad cannons, phaser turrets, quantum torpedoes, and a point defense system that is extremely effective, I will add, that's where it ends for how good it is. She has similar to, if not slightly higher, endurance and defense than the Castillo Escort of the tier 6 Jupiter carrier. And in a straight up fight, it's safe to say that she's probably only going to take out one. She'll only probably take out one enemy escort level ship before she'll be taken out in the second one. That's the easiest way to peg her. She's superior to one NPC escort, but not 2. That's just not healthy for her. The full set bonus will give you an enhanced turn rate. Well, sorry, full set bonus will give you the enhanced chevron separation, which gives your saucer gravity well free, better defense and endurance from what I've seen. It might have just been luck on its part. And when you activate worker bees, it will also activate its own worker bees that will be sent out to all of your allies that you are currently in a team with. Maximum 5. I mean, I'm guessing at some point you were able to have more than 5 in the team. I didn't know that was a thing. On that same note though, the 2-piece set sounds somewhat better, as it gives you a plus 12 to your energized hull plating as well as your ablative hull plating, giving you better resistance to energy damage and kinetic and physical damage. You also gain a plus 1 to your flight turn rate, plus 12 to your EPS systems, allowing for better power transfer rate, and you get a 25% reduced time on your Odyssey consoles recharging for the ones that you have equipped. This does not affect any consoles outside of the Odyssey console set, so none of your flagship consoles. Speaking of flagship consoles, they are actually part of a 4-piece set, though you're only going to get the 3 that you're seeing in the engineering console slots. These are the dampening wave emitter, which gives you a plus 15 to your shield capacity, and gives you the active ability of violent dampening wave. Actually quite a useful console, if I'm honest. Violent dampening wave gives you a PB AoE of 4 kilometers with radiation DOT, damage, debuff, and disable to your foes. It deals just over 1000 radiation damage per second every second. Gives a minus 80% energy damage reduction for 15%. For 15 seconds. 15%, what am I talking about? And finally, a disable of 7.8 seconds, or for 7.8 seconds, which, to be fair, is actually really useful, seeing as you're going to take out most enemies within that time limit. The flagship tactical computer is possibly one of my favorite consoles still. This one gives you plus 19 to directed energy damage and your fleet weapons accelerator. Great one here for support and DPS players. To your team, the full team including yourself, plus firing cycle rate, plus turn, and plus flight speed. You get, unfortunately, though the chances of this these days are very low, back in the day you have to be careful for it. Once this is activated, it will prevent anyone that has been affected by the console, everyone in your team, from receiving these effects again for the following 60 seconds. Now, the effects of this ability is plus 50 to your flight speed and your turn rate, well, plus 50% to your flight speed and turn rate for 15 seconds. You also get a third of your firing cycle haste boosted for 15 seconds. This will require a 2-minute recharge time, much like the last console. Finally, adaptive emergency systems. We are the Borg. Ha! Not. This gives you plus 19 to energy damage resistance and plus 3.3 to your maximum hull capacity. 3.3%. Now the adaptive emergency systems active ability will give you a damage and a damage resistance buff, with plus 50 to bonus all damage resistance for 30 seconds, scaling up to 75 when your health is equal to or below 50%, and a 30% bonus all damage for 30 seconds, scaling up to 45% if your health is 50% or equal or below. Sorry. These get slightly superior when you add them into the 4-piece set, but I should note right now that all 3 of those just listed consoles are subject to only the flagships. Therefore, they can only be equipped on the Odyssey, the Baltascule, or the Scimitar flagship variants. Bit disappointing, I know, but hey ho. The scary thing to note is the fact that these are available on the Scimitar class. The Scimitar class is capable of a very powerful build anyway when it comes to DPS. Equipping these consoles on the Scimitar class, that just takes it to another level. Yes, there are now better options, but hey, if you don't have them and you do have access to this, it's a good midpoint before you go endgame with a scimitar. Now the 4-piece set from these flagships, 4-piece set, sorry, gives you at set bonus 2 the flagship modifications, giving you plus 2% to your critical chance and plus 3 to your flight turn rate. At a 3-piece, you get deadly response. This is very effective in my opinion. Receiving damage while your shield is fully depleted, how often does that happen to me? Gives you the 10% chance of applying the deadly response up to 3 stacks. This gives you per stack 2,500 temporary hit points for 10 seconds and plus 10% bonus all damage for 10 seconds. There's a lot of bonus all damage going on here with the full set, isn't it? And they get very powerful. Finally, at the full piece, the full 4-piece, you gain the flagship Starship console enhancements. This results in adaptive emergency systems, require your minimum health increase from 50% to 75%. So they now proc with only 25% damage taken. Your fleet weapon accelerators have an increased duration now up to 20 seconds. And the violent dampening wave has increased its range from 4 kilometers to 5 kilometers. They are overall quite effective in my personal opinion. But I'm going to be completely honest with you right now. I don't use them. In fact, I don't even use that one. Get on there. That's Bella. Yeah. That's what I've been flying to test it. As for the masteries, well, when you release the tier 5 level mastery, you gain supercharged weapons. Firing a torpedo grants you 1 stack up to 3 stacks maximum of supercharged buff. Supercharged buff will improve your energy weapon damage. So your direct energy weapons now gain per stack plus 10% to damage for 20 seconds, plus 1.5% to critical chance, and plus 6.6% to critical severity, all for 20 seconds. Checkmate is the next trait. This one is probably my favourite of the traits as well. But you know, I am a support player. Exotic damage and projectile damage are enhanced by control bridge offset abilities, gaining a 30% boost to projectile weapons and exotic damage for 15 seconds, whenever triggering a control ability. Adaptive hull plating, that's probably my least favourite of them. You get a maximum hull improved whenever you use a healing or command bridge offset ability. Your maximum hull hit points is increased by 3%. I'd probably rate them higher if they actually were a little bit more powerful. I mean, Checkmate would be dangerous to be a bit more powerful, but supercharged weapons and adaptive hull plating, yeah, they could do with being a bit stronger. Away from that, we can talk tier 6. So, at mastery level 6, or tier mastery level 6, you gain the team defensive bonus during command of fleet abilities. So, affecting friends and yourself, bonus to the team when your ship is affected by a command or fleet ability. Literally, your ship is affected. So it's awkward, because you can probably set some off here yourself, but also your allies could set this off. And it is useful, because it will give a plus 5% to maximum hull, and a plus 50% to maximum hull regeneration based on the missing hull. But the fact that you could accidentally trigger this a bit early, and have a time waiting for it to reset. Coordination with the team is important. Overall though, if I do say so myself, I strongly feel that as much as these days the older traits and the older consoles can be given a skip, the ship stats itself more than live up to expectation. She can hold onto the lineage nice and well and go beautifully. She's enhanced herself and strengthened herself where she needed it. She's gained a new weakness, but considering most of the old weaknesses have been fixed, I think the compromise is acceptable, personally speaking. The final console for the tier 6 set is the Timeline Stabilizer. For those wondering how you get a hold of that, that is with the Kremen Timeship, I do believe. When acquiring that, you can get that currently from the Phoenix Lockbox. Sorry, the Phoenix Prize Box, not Lockbox. Phoenix Prize Box. And I think it might even be in Mud's Market. If you got it from Mud's Market, you're in for a winner, because that is going to just give you some fun to have with the full console set. Now, on that very note, I think we've taken enough time here. Let me show you the Umbra Cetus' true form, and let's take her into action. Well, I'm going to make this as obvious as I possibly can. This ship is a monster. Goodbye. Gallo class, we're coming for you. And we're going to make this hurt as much as I possibly can. He's out of this one. Oh, the Jemadar battle ship. I'm going to take just a moment to wait for a little bit of recharge. Gonna comment on your little booty. You're not going to like me very much, but I promise it'll be over quickly. Whoopsie! Look at him gone already. Took a man or so. Hideki comes alone. Hideki came alone. No, Hideki, you foolish thing. Oh, I'm just going to let them bully it. Bye. Oh, that Hideki class made a big mistake. A big mistake. Wow, the lighting in this area doesn't really like this ship hole, does it? Anywho. So in case that wasn't really obvious, she's an absolute powerhouse. Honestly speaking, I recommend her to most players. I recommend any of the tier 6 variants of her that you can get to most players, depending on variants. Yes, if you can only get one ship and you can't afford to get the full bundle, I'll be honest with you, picking up her more well-known counterparts, they've been around a while, is a great option to do so. You may not have all the console sets in that, but like I'm probably give an issue here with, that's not always a big issue. Here's the thing, okay? Yeah, her consoles are a little bit outdated. They're fun, they're useful, they're quirky, and they're useful for mid-range builds at the moment. That holds the limit. The traits, similar story. But the ship itself, well, you want to get it easier, then pick up either the Science variant or the tactical variant. I'm not sure I'd actually recommend picking up the engineering variant, just because I want to say the tactical variant tanks just as well as the engineering variant can. And she's probably saying something there, but the science one can also do it pretty damn well. And it gives you open use for other setups. The engineering version of the ship really is only good as a tank. Admittedly, that's kind of what this ship does the best. Well, of course it does. It's extremely good. If I was going to break down the legendary Verity, I would say her best role is tank, second best and following very closely behind DPS, and sitting in the mid-marks are her support potential. As such, science scoring, support scoring for this ship, 5 out of 10. Her limited consoles, being only 3 consoles, is not great for her science-wise. X upgrading can give her 4 science consoles, but that's not going to save her. However, the bridge officers can save her, but in order to do that, you also limit what she can do defensively or offensively. Unless you're going completely into the science side of builds. However, stepping off of that, DPS wise, the fact she can equip dual cannons, the fact that it's very easy to get her turn rate up to a nice nimble speed, as I've kind of demonstrated for my build, and the fact that she has such high endurance makes her an excellent DPS vessel, because you can sit there in the fight and just keep pounding away at the enemies, getting stronger and stronger with the right traits, and dealing out incredible amounts of damage, either in a broadside build, where you might want to watch your threat generation, or in a focused forward attacking arc, and give the scimitar something to worry about. Maybe not as good as the scimitar, but still something to worry about. She hits harder. Sorry, she hits harder because the scimitar's defense isn't quite on the same page. Just saying. In my opinion, at least. Now, speaking of defense, this is where this ship really rules the roost. I feel very safe and comfortable saying this. I honestly believe that she still sits among the best of the tanks in this game. There are some ships that tank better. There are a lot that are tanking orientated that tank worse. So that says something good about her. Honestly, DPS gets a overall score of 7 out of 10. But tanking will get an overall score of 9 out of 10. And as such, my final score for this ship is 8 out of 10. I do recommend her to players. She's part of the 10 ship bundle, so that makes the second ship reviewed, and as such, well, I guess the easiest way of putting it is she one of your 4 to make it worth purchasing the bundle? Because I say if you're going to purchase the bundle, you want at least 4 ships from it that you really want to get. Because the chances are, given a year, you won't still be flying them all, but you will have gained a lot from them. A lot of consoles and a lot of traits, many of them good. Sorry Oddie, you ended up being the oddball in the console and traits department, but you actually was the oddball again for the really good ship department. The opposite of the Glen so far. With this, I just need to do a double check. But I do believe... Well, look at that pop on screen. Hello, Discord. Let me double check this for you guys so I can confirm that the next legendary ship being looked at as selected by viewers will be... Ah, Zalos, you commented here. Tribal, you commented 4. Zalos commented 6 out of the 8 left. That would be... Huh. Zalos, you have selected the Intrepid class. Tribal, by the way, you selected the Defiant. Next video is the Legendary Voyager. Let's get ready for that one. With this being said, guys, a massive thank you for watching to the very end of this video. It really does mean a lot to me, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I hope you have found this somewhat useful, and maybe with that being noted, possibly consider hitting that like button and sharing this video out in your preferred social medias, because that will really help the channel out. I know you hear it in every video that you hear on YouTube, but it means a lot when you do so. On the same note, I want to give a massive thank you to the extreme generosity again of our donators, our Twitch subscribers, and our patrons, who I do hope will soon become YouTube members, depending on how I can set that up for people. Guys, thank you all, and until next time, stay safe, and remember, live long and prosper, my friends. Ciao for now. Engage!